Hi, my name is Davy. I have my sweetheart from high school. We've been together for 5 years, but life is going too hard for both of us because our parents didn't agree that we're together. I left him, but for 13 years, he always approached me, but I always ignored him. There was once I felt pity for him and I replied to his message. And we were back together. Our parents found out again, and they're doing everything to separate us. Now he left me.
All right, this is episode 8 of Share Your Story. So, we had just heard from Debbie, and the question that Debbie has is why did they leave? Right? So, why did they leave? Why did this person leave them? So, let's see. What was Tower and the Magician? Okay, right. Let's go ahead and clarify the four ones. Try to potentially see why this person left. Four of Wands. The High Priestess in reverse. The Seven of Swords in reverse. Okay. So for the Tower, the Hanged Man. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse. The Empress in reverse. Magician, we have the Four of Swords. The Five of Wands in reverse. So I'm hearing the song Against All Odds, right? That is by Phil Collins. This song might be something that resonates with you, Against All Odds, which makes sense with your story. I think this has been something that has been ongoing for quite some time. You did mention that this person was your high school sweetheart, but you had separated because your parents had not agreed with the connection. And I think you are apart for some time here until you got back together. And then your parents found out again and they did everything to separate you, but now your person has left and you're wondering why. Well, I have to say, with the cards that I get here, I can see that potentially the connection itself was quite strong, right? But I don't think that there was enough. It's not that the connection wasn't strong enough to be able to be pursued or for it to have a potential future. It just feels to me like your person potentially might have found it just too challenging. It seems like your person, it's like no matter how they looked at it, no matter where they looked, it just seemed like it's too difficult, right? Like this is too difficult to handle, this is too difficult to overcome. So, Four of Wands, I feel like the connection itself, again, looking like there's some kind of stability there. There's a connection there. But in this particular deck, for the Cozy Witch Tarot deck, the Four of Wands actually represents family itself. And in this card, it says, family is whoever makes you feel the most safe and comfortable being you. So I feel like you and your person in your connection, you had that together. But I'm also getting that if we're talking about family, family is just a more stronger bond sometimes that it can be overwhelming to a connection. And I feel like even though it seems like you are wanting to fight through it, maybe your person didn't want you to have to go through that kind of difficulty. I feel like your person was thinking, we can get through this, this is still possible. But I think deep down, they were also feeling like it's not going to be okay. It was just too much. And maybe the matriarchs in your families were the ones that were really against this because I'm getting strong feminine um, feminine energies, and these are usually the mothers, the matriarchs, right? It feels like it. it would have been hard to change their minds, and that's where the difficulty really lay. So it's either both of your mothers or one of your mothers were just too against this connection, that it was just too hard, too difficult. um I see the desire here, but the thing is, the Five of Wands tells me this is too hard to overcome. Now, I want to be honest, there's still something in the energy of wanting this connection for some reason. But wanting something and then being able to actually follow through on it are two different things. Now, again, admittedly, and I am so sorry to the people that have shared their stories with me, it did take me almost over a year to get to these stories. And I hope that this somehow finds its way to you. Hopefully you subscribed, and you'll see these videos, and then you'll be able to see a reading. So if by chance you are watching this reading, I'm going to say that for some reason I'm seeing that your person maybe wanted to give this time. Okay. Even though you and your person already had so much time together here, it feels like maybe they think maybe eventually there will be acceptance, maybe if we give it more time. However, so much can happen in between then, right? So much can change in between that time. And I feel that within this connection, there's so much difficulty with family that it might be too difficult to keep going. Okay. Um, so that seems to be the reason why your person left. It feels to me like as much as they may have wanted to, especially if there were matriarchs or mothers in your connections that were just really against this, it's too difficult to overcome. Okay. Still seeming like maybe in time, maybe if we give this more time, maybe there'll be acceptance. But your person to begin with, and their energy is showing a lot of doubt that that will ever happen. Okay. Now, again, admittedly, this is a year after you had shared your story, but this is the energy I'm getting. So I'm sensing that this person may still carry hope for this, but I think the guidance here for you in particular is in this separation with your person. Let this be the time that you work on yourself. Let this be the time that you just focus on you and how to make yourself more independent, stronger. I don't know if you're dependent on your family. You might be in some way. And maybe you need to establish yourself away from your family so that whatever decisions you make for yourself, as much as you love your family, you can follow through on that because you can take care of yourself. There's something about needing to just focus on yourself, on what you need, needing to get stronger, needing to get more confident, needing to get more independent. At the end of the day, you decide what is going to make you happy. At the end of the day, you deserve to choose what your happiness will be. But I kind of feel like if you are being encouraged to work on your strength in this way, maybe you're not as confident or as independent as you should be to, I don't want to say stand up to your family because that's like defiance, right? But I mean in some way it's to be able to stand up and say, this is my choice, this is what I want for myself, and I will bear the consequences. I am independent enough to make this decision. It just feels like maybe that's why that's needed. So I can see that you might still want this connection and you might still hope for it, but I think you also feel like maybe it's never going to happen. And what I am going to say is, whatever you do feel for this person, you will probably continue to feel, okay? Because this is a love that I think it's like soulmate love, maybe. But the thing is, you and this person have to be willing to fight for it together. It doesn't really matter if you're willing. If your person is not willing to fight for it with you, it doesn't really come to anything, right? And I would say your person may not have that kind of strength. They may not have the strength or the confidence or the determination to fight for your connection. And that being the case, that is why you are being asked to focus on yourself, work on your independence. And the guidance I gave earlier about being able to make your own decisions, it may not necessarily have to do with your person here, right? Your high school sweetheart, but this is about you being able to stand on your 2 feet to make your own decisions and to find your own happiness, whether it's with a high school sweetheart or with someone new. So that kind of work is going to be beneficial for you either way. I think though I think though this isn't a situation that you should really give too much energy to, because it's not something that you can fight for or you can overcome by yourself. If this person is not willing to hold your hand and fight with you, there's not really anything that you're fighting for. Okay? So as much as that may hurt, I think maybe it's time to walk away from the idea of this connection. Okay? Um, and maybe allow yourself to explore. Maybe you're so closed off right now, but allow yourself to explore, to see potential of new people that come your way, or at least allow yourself to be open enough to explore opportunities, right? I'm going to say one of the things that seems to be a cliche and we don't really want to hear, but if you and your high school sweetheart don't end up together, there's probably a reason for that. And if you are not able to fight for each other in the way that you'd like, or maybe more so that your person can't fight for you, there's a reason for that too. Okay. Um, Maybe as much as this connection would have been strong, maybe it might not have been strong enough to really withstand, you know, future challenges. And maybe it's just right that your person stepped aside and didn't fight for it because they knew they didn't have it in them to give you what was needed. And that kind of saves you time, right? And effort as well, because you can then recognize, oh, okay, maybe as much as we had a good connection, we're just not strong enough here, this connection, for us to really have a future. But for yourself, you can think, I need to make myself stronger. I need to work on myself to be more independent and be more stronger, so that no matter what I do choose in life, it'll be my decision, right? So I feel like if you're still contemplating with whether this situation is over or not, I think it would be in your best interest, um, if you did decide it was something that was a closed chapter, a closed book, because I think you're wondering, should I continue to wait for this person? And that's understandable if you've been with this person for such a long duration. I mean, you said high school sweetheart, together 5 years, and then for 13 years that passed by, right? And then here you are again, and then they left. So there might be that sense of, well, maybe there's another chance for it, but I would say it's probably in your best interest to not give energy to this anymore, to maybe accept the loss, right? And to maybe just accept that it just wasn't meant to be, that your connection, whatever way you are connected to this person, that it probably serves a purpose, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're meant to end up together. So I would say the opportunity to take now is to really care for yourself, to really pour into yourself right now more than anything else. And I think, here's the thing. This person, they may feel their connection with you, they may even love you, but if they can't fight with you, if they leave you when you need them the most, as much as that's painful to hear, it's exactly what you need to see. It's what you need to accept. Because a person that is really committed to you, that will want to be with you, will fight for you and your connection. They're going to look at everything and not allow for anything to get in the way of that. But as I've seen in your person, it just may not be in their character to do that, which at the end of the day also kind of tells you the kind of person they are and the kind of potential connection you would have had in the future. And maybe you need someone that is stronger, confident, determined, right? Because if I'm going to be completely honest, I see two people that are a little bit weakened, in a sense of not being able to really stand up for themselves, to really fight for their decisions. And so if you put two people with similar energies in that way, it'll be a hard connection to really, it'll just be very difficult, right? It's not impossible, but it'll be very difficult. And I feel like the more you work on yourself, the more you stand up for yourself, and maybe you need, you need a person that's going to be able to do the same. So from what I'm seeing here, as sad as it is, and as strong a connection that it could have been, it just is looking like one of those things where it's not going to happen. And probably best that it doesn't happen, um, because it just doesn't, it's just not a connection that is strong enough to really have a potential future, right? So that's what I have. I hope that helped. And again, sorry that this is so late, but I hope you catch this reading.